We've ended the war on American energy. We were in war. And we've ended the war on beautiful, clean coal, one of our great natural resources.
I've got to go. Let me respond. There's a lot to respond to here. Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far. Okay? Number one. Number two, I mean what I say when I say it. I mean what I say when I say it. I'm the only person who's ever run on 3 platforms that I was told could not possibly win the election, and I never ceased from it. I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
They had a very bad original concept. It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-ups. Very simple. Bad deal, should have never been thought of. Somebody really messed up, and they had the worst cover-up ever. And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint, when they thought about it. Because whoever thought of that idea, I think is in big trouble.
It's not a fetish. It's not a fetish. That's a term like, I just love information.
Joe Brandon, I agree.
I went in yesterday and there was a television screen, and I said, this is genius. At the same time, the vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind.
The truth of the matter is that when you look at some of my policies, in a lot of ways, Richard Nixon was more liberal than I was.
But the real problem is that our leaders are dumb. Dumb. So dumb.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party. This country needs a strong Republican Party. The country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. So today, on behalf of the United States, I want to thank every Olympian and Paralympian. And that was just incredible. What happened with the Paralympics was so incredible and so inspiring to me. And I watched, it's a little tough to watch too much, but I watched as much as I could. It was real.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
That is a shit fuck, cringe tour, etc., etc.
$7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico. Burmese executives. So this Burmesia, they say, pronounce it Burmesia. A real beautiful company.
But it's a class action lawsuit against all machines.
Hello? Testing. Testing. Is this thing on? Hello? Hello? Testing. Hello? Hello? Is it on? Hello? 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 Testing. Testing. Hello? Is it on? Is anyone here? Is anyone listening? Is anyone watching? Is anyone here? Is anyone experiencing what I'm experiencing? Oh, I know someone who's experiencing what I'm experiencing. That's right, it's Max the goddamn dog. Come over here, buddy. It's Max the doggy. Look at him. Oh, look, you got ears and you're flopping them around. Look at this dog. Look at this animal, this creature. This creature. Look at that. Wow. So that's the Max the dog portion of the program. And I gotta like get the camera just so it's just always, he's always visible. So Max got a new toy yesterday, but I don't know where it is. That's not new. Max, where's the pig? This is an eggplant. Gimme. Gimme. Oh. Look at this dog. I am endlessly excited about Max the dog, let me tell you. All right, there you go. Anyway, we got some users in this chat. We got Home, we got Abner, Evil Vacum, we got Brook, we got Johnny Too Early, and more. Tyler is apparently here according to reports. What dog? What are you talking about? You were having a medical emergency. I wouldn't be surprised. But welcome everybody to the program today. I'm happy to be here. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to do a show for y'all today. Got a couple of stories that we're going to be talking about today. And brace for impact. That's right. Another 30-minute COVID segment. I know. Can you believe it? It's just it's an endless parade of cringe, but we'll be getting into that. I've got a movie review or two up my sleeve today, and so we'll see. I watched a couple movies over the last couple days that I want to do reviews on. But, it depends on how long the news portion of the show goes, because, I might do one, I might do two. I'm not sure yet. Either way, I'll save them for tomorrow. I will be doing a show tomorrow. I know I've recently been not doing streams on the weekends, but I will be doing a show tomorrow. I don't know about Sunday. I might take Sunday off. I don't know. I might take Monday off. Who knows? We'll see. But tomorrow I will do a show. So brace for that. Put your seatbelts on, folks, because we're going to jump into the 30-minute COVID segment. And this is not just, this is not just going to be a COVID segment because, this is just all kinds of ridiculous fucking garbage. All kinds. You've probably seen the headlines if you know what I'm talking about. But here we go. The headline is cropped out. U.S. military braces for impact of COVID vaccine mandate repeal. So, as we know, the one institution where the U.S. government, quote unquote, has the power and authority to institute an actual vaccine mandate is the U.S. military. That is the one and only institution where they can do so. Again, there was never a vaccine mandate in this country in any other capacity. Anybody who was doing like a protest against mandates, they lived in a fantasy world. There was no mandate. Joe Biden's message to Americans that aren't in the U.S. military was get the vaccine or don't. That was the message. That was the mandate. You either get vaccinated or you don't. That's not a mandate. A mandate is a one-option scenario where they force you to get the vaccine. That's what I would have preferred. But we didn't have that. So anybody that wants to talk about how they survived America's vaccine mandate, whatever bullshit, they're lying. They live in fairy tale land. There was no vaccine mandate in this country unless you're a part of the U.S. military. And now again, I just want to say this. Democrats control the House. Democrats control the Senate. As of this moment, and Democrats control the White House. So this is a bunch of bullshit. Okay? But either way, let's check it. As a repeal of the U.S. military's COVID-19 vaccine mandate took a step closer to becoming law on Thursday, military officers and experts are warning it's a change that could have adverse ripple effects on military readiness and ability of service members to deploy around the world. Now again, if you are a part of the U.S. military, there is I believe it is yearly. It might be more frequent. I'm not sure. But I know that they have a regular vaccine schedule because the U.S. military is designed to be able, if there's like a world war that breaks out tomorrow, they need to be ready to be dropped into the fucking jungles or, into the desert, into whatever, into the fucking Arctics. They need to be ready to go anywhere in the world. And all across the world, in different parts of the world, there's different hot spots and pockets of different kinds of disease, right? So they're routinely vaccinated for all kinds of diseases that, assuming they never get deployed, they would never otherwise need the vaccination for, right? So removing the COVID vaccine from this, but not removing the other vaccines, is just bullshit, conspiratorial, COVID denialist garbage. And again, it's not January 3rd. It's actually December 9th. And as a result, Democrats control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and this is still happening. So, quote, "This isn't just our side of the equation," a defense official told CNN regarding the possible impact of the change. "It's what our partners and people we would train and work with are asking us to do to enter the country." The National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, released on Tuesday, includes a provision that would rescind the Pentagon's current mandate requiring troops receive the COVID vaccine. And while Republican lawmakers have celebrated its inclusion, the White House said it's a mistake, though President Joe Biden has not made clear if he will sign the bill with... Now again, as of right now, this is as it's referred to in the business, a must-pass bill. Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Now, again, the Senate, we'll talk about that in a moment, okay? Give me a sec. But as of this moment, until January 3rd, which is when the new House comes in, where there is going to be a Republican majority in the House. That has not happened yet, right? We still got a little bit less than a month, about 3 weeks. The House passed the NDAA on Thursday in a 350 to 80 vote. Now, again, they could have passed it just on party lines without this stupid COVID vaccine garbage, but They're not doing so. Why? Because Democrats are the party of pandemic denialism. That's why. Democrats want to pretend that we are not in a pandemic. That's their policy. That's why Joe Biden declared victory on the pandemic during the State of the Union, during July 4th, and a couple months ago during the 60 Minutes interview. He just has kept saying, the pandemic's over, the pandemic's over, the pandemic's over. Why would you need to say it 38 times if it was over the first time, right? A little weird, a little strange. But again, it's just crazy ass motherfucking shit. Deputy Defense Press Secretary Sabrina Singh declined on Wednesday to go into detail about what the Pentagon was preparing for if the mandate was repealed, instead emphasizing that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin believes the mandate is important for the health of the force. Quote, what is important to the readiness of the force is getting the vaccine, Singh said. So yes, it would impact the readiness of the force. You're more prone to getting COVID-19. Now again, this is one of those situations, right, where Republicans are caught between a rock and a hard place. Now, they're not, right, because Republicans, the entire ideology of neo-Nazism is based on hypocrisy, right? That's why, like, you know, Nazis would, why did Nazis hate Jewish people at the core? Because they thought that Jewish people were better than them, and they were like, whoa, they're so much smarter than us, so we got to take them out, right? Because these people are fucking crybabies. So when they cry and whine about the master race and all that other stupid fucking bullshit, what they're really talking about is they just want to be the ones in power. And now, again, this is two situations where Republicans are usually, like, you have to choose one. Either you want the strongest military in the world, or you want to engage in pseudoscience, anti-science, COVID disinformation, QAnon conspiracy campaigns. You got to choose one. And it seems that they are sacrificing the power of the U.S. military in favor of their COVID denialist QAnon conspiracy theories. And that includes Democrats. And you might be thinking, QAnon, Democrats? Yes. Yes. There are not 380 Republicans in the House of Representatives, so some Democrats went on board with this. Why? Because they're pandemic denialists, and the only way you can be a pandemic denialist is, again, embracing QAnon. Now, again, you can take different roads to enter the same location, right? You got a city, imagine you're on a map, right? You got a city, there's like 4 routes you can take. One is like QAnon, one is like where we go one, we go all, whatever, right? The other one is like, oh, you know, I followed all the rules and now I want to turn my mask back on. The other one is, oh, I got the first couple shots, but no more, right? But they all lead to the same spot. And that is the destruction of this fucking country, right? And again, I don't really care how people got to where they are. Actions speak louder than words. If you say, I don't believe in QAnon, you say, I don't believe in vaccine conspiracy theories, and yet you only got vaccinated 2 years ago, I don't know. It looks like you do, right? If I look at a demographic of people that aren't vaccinated, I'm going to say these are anti-vaccine conspiracy theorists. I don't care if you're, but I believe in the vaccine. It's just, but you're an anti-vaccine conspiracy theorist. Just own it. Just acknowledge it, right? So again, now, Republicans and Democrats, but again, Republicans love the U.S. military. They're the strongest military in the world. We got to be ready to fight China on the drop of a dime, right? And they are sacrificing the... Now, again, I don't fucking care about the U.S. military. My opinion, fuck them. They all get COVID and die? Fuck them. Fuck the troops. Fuck you. Fuck your family who's in fucking whatever. I don't fucking care. Fuck them, okay? That's my opinion on the troops. But Republicans, you say fuck the troops in front of a Republican, you're going to get your ass beat because these guys are fucking macho men, like tough guys, super fucks, right? But again, actions speak louder than words. I say fuck the troops, right? And so now the entire Republican Party is agreeing. Fuck the troops. Let's get them all killed before they can even see combat. That's what they're going for here, right? It's crazy. It's just crazy. Anyway, it's not just about the U.S. American troops often have additional vaccine requirements depending on the area of the world at which they are deploying or being rotated through. Under the Pentagon's current policy, service members who have not gotten the vaccine are considered non-deployable, Singh said Wednesday. Quote, make our job more difficult. Indeed, retired General Robert Abrams, who previously commanded U.S. troops in South Korea, told CNN that the vaccine repeal, quote, will make our job more difficult, referring to the duties of overseas commanders. The COVID-19 vaccine is required for entry to South Korea and Japan, countries that have thousands of U.S. service members. Repealing the vaccine mandate will put the U.S. forces in an awkward position, Abrams said, because the host nation expects us to follow their regulations and SOFA, status of force agreement, requires it. So again, once again, this isn't like the idea that they're not repealing all vaccine mandates and just the COVID one. I need you to understand, this is a death cult. Not the Republican Party, not the Democratic Party, but our government as a whole. Both parties in this instance. Now, again, obviously, each party has a degree of insanity that outweighs, the Republican Party, obviously, much more ruthless, much more insane than the Democratic Party on average. But on this issue, on the issue of COVID, right, and there's a bunch of other issues where Democrats and Republicans are not even close, right? And there's a lot of issues where they are exactly in lockstep. And on pandemic denialism, on pretending that COVID-19 does not exist, the Democrats and the Republicans are in the same boat. That's why you have Democratic President Joe Biden saying the pandemic is over right before we've hit the worst surge yet, right? That's why you have Republicans that want to, repeal COVID-19 vaccine mandates for the military, even though they support the military ostensibly, right? They agree. On this issue, they agree. That's why, again, if you look at the vote, 350 to 80, both parties agree. There is no such thing as science. There is no such thing as medicine. And viruses don't exist. That is the coalition that has been built here. That is bipartisan in the United States of America. Viruses are fake. Germs are fake. We don't need to wash our hands before cooking. Let's sign it into law. That is their perspective. So, let's look into this. Officials have experts raised other concerns, however, about the impact repealing the mandate could have on troops already in uniform. Rachel Van Ladingham, a retired Air Force judge, advocate, and law professor at Southwest, told CNN that there could be a ripple effect for units if some service members are unable to deploy because of the vaccine. That is especially notable for smaller units like those found in special operations community, while conventional forces may be able to ensure that they have the numbers needed for deployment or rotation. Smaller units could face more of a challenge if the few people they have are unable to deploy because of a vaccine requirement. Now, again, the idea that motherfuckers and what was the fucking bullshit that killed Osama bin Laden? What was that? Fucking some super group or whatever. It's the Navy SEALs, right? The idea that we're gonna have 4 Navy SEALs or 5 and 3 of them are QAnoners. Hey, special operations may not be the word. Hey, now that I think about it, special operations sounds a lot more fitting if the Navy SEALs are apparently going to be so afraid of vaccines or whatever special operations group. Yes, I agree. They are special operations and they should be treated that way. But again, I think it's hilarious, the idea that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, both parties, if you say fuck the troops around either one of these people, they're going, oh my God, how dare you! Right? If you ever say anything critical of the U.S. military, these people will literally have a heart attack live on on C-SPAN, right? But both of them, at this moment, pandemic denialism, pretending COVID is fake, outweighs protecting our military and our country's strength. Now, again, you ask me, I say defund these motherfuckers. I say, oh, we need to project strength. I say, fuck you. How about you project my cock and balls into your mouth, motherfucker? Right? So again, that's my opinion on this thing. But now again, pointing out hypocrisy doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Pointing out hypocrisy. Oh, wow, Republicans are hypocrites. No shit, they're hypocrites. They're hypocrites on purpose. But this is one of those situations where, again, how did they square this one? If you have a Republican in your family, I'd ask them, just for me, ask them and report back to me, how do they feel about this? I'm just curious. If any Republicans watching, how do you feel about this? My assumption would be that they think COVID is fake, and therefore, if the military isn't getting the vaccine, that they're going to be more effective. That's the conspiracy theory that I think that they would come up with. But again, that's just funny shit. Anyway, war is dumb. Militaries are dumb. More people kill themselves every year than die in wars. So, there you go. Little fun fact. All right, I think I did a COVID segment in less than an hour. So I think we're off to a good start. Oh shit, it's almost 10:30. It's not usually when I finish the COVID segment. It's oh shit, it's 1:15, and I've been. But anyway, there you go. That's fun. And I'm doing a show today. Today I'm doing a show. I'm doing a program today. I'm doing a program. A professional program. They would say a pro program. I am pro programs at this point. I'm in favor of professional programs is the first half of the word program. I don't know if it's a half, right? Because there's 7 letters. Anyway, but we got more news. More news. I don't even know. Like this news show is just going to be making fun of Congress. Except for, I guess one story is not making fun of Congress, but it's still Congress related. So if Congress is not an issue that you care about, feel free to log off the show and come back in an hour for the movie reviews. LaCroix. If you want to sponsor me, LaCroix, I'm here. I'm ready. I don't know how to pronounce your company's name, but trust me, that's going to get eyeballs. So LaCroix. If anyone wants to send LaCroix some emails, drinking some limoncello today, this morning. And some coffee. Of course. All right, let's jump into the most entertaining news of the day. You've probably already seen this. If I'm the one breaking this news to you, I apologize. And so, Kyrsten Sinema, you may know this name. You may know it. You may be aware of the name Kyrsten Sinema. And if you are, chances are your mind is not doing so well at the thought of this wretched, disgusting piece of human fucking garbage. And so Kyrsten Sinema, who basically what she's doing is she's leapfrogging Joe Manchin on the cringe. Everyone was saying, like, Joe Manchin last year was like, I'm going to switch my party. If y'all keep bullying me, I'm Joe Manchin. Look at me, right? And then Democrats pick up a seat in the Senate. Now, note, right, Warnock won in Georgia. If Warnock lost in Georgia, would Kyrsten Sinema do this? Probably not. But Warnock won in Georgia, cementing a 51 Democrat Senate. So what does Kyrsten Sinema do? What does she do? All right, check this out. Sinema leaving the Democratic Party and registering as an independent. Now, again, Joe Manchin, right? All the tea leaves or whatever pointed to Joe Manchin for doing this. But Kyrsten Sinema has decided, you know what? Fuck that old coal baron ass bitch. I'm going to jump over that guy's face. And he got leapfrogged. So then you see this little photo. I don't know why there's like a, I don't need that, play button there. But just this photo, I hate Kyrsten Sinema. If you ask me like top 10 dumb motherfuckers in Congress, Kyrsten Sinema might be at the top of that list. And I'm factoring in Tommy Tuberville, factoring in like Matt Gaetz. I'm factoring in like Jim Jordan. Like she's that fucking stupid, right? It's crazy ass shit. Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema is leaving the Democratic Party and registering as a political independent, she told CNN's Jake Tapper in an exclusive TV interview. Quote, I've registered as an Arizona independent. I know some people might be a little surprised by this, but actually I think it made a lot of sense, Sinema said on Thursday interview with Tapper in her Senate office. I've never been near any party bonds. I've never really tried. I don't want to, she added, removing myself from the partisan structure. But whatever, who cares what she has to say. Sinema's move away from the Democratic Party is unlikely to change the power balance in the next Senate. Democrats will have a narrow 51-49 majority that includes two independents who caucus with them, Bernie Sanders and Angus King. While Sanders and King formally caucused with Democrats, Sinema declined to explicitly say that she would do the same. Now, again, this is the thing. She doesn't want to give all of the cards away up front, right? She wants to be in the news for weeks. That's what she wants to do here, right? This is a plan. Is she going to caucus with Republicans? People are going to be writing op-eds about it. People are going to be doing video essays about it. People are going to be, talking about it on CNN. Is she going to do it? Is she going to be a true independent? What's going to happen? Whoa, right? So people are going to opine on this shit for a long ass time. Who knows? So she can get those headlines, because that's what this bitch is all about. She's an attention whore. She's a fucking attention whore. She's a stone cold dumb fuck attention whore, right? That's what's going on here. She did note, however, that she expects to keep her committee assignments, a signal that she doesn't plan to upend the Senate composition since Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer controls committee rosters for Democrats. Quote, I don't come into work and say it'll be the same. I'm going to come into work and But Sinema's decision to become a political independent makes official what's long been an independent streak for the... I love the creative writing here. Like, she's not in... Like, this idea... Can we stop? Just America. Dear America, please stop with this independent bullshit. Please stop. Please stop with this Oh, I'm not left, I'm not right, I'm something else. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm independent. Can we stop with that? I'm an independent thinker. No, you're not. No, you're not. Independents are fucking stupid. Now, again, before you get your fucking panties in a bunch, because I know, right, they're twisting right up. Before you fucking fuck up, right, Democrats, even dumber. Republicans, even dumber. But that doesn't make independents somehow like, I've seen through the duopoly, and not, like, you're not like a super genius, you're not Albert Einstein, you're just another form of fucking dumbass, okay? So again, this idea that like, oh wow, her ideological, she doesn't have an ideology, right? This is what you need to understand. She doesn't have an ideology. Her ideology is, this is what happens. This is her ideology. Ring, 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 ring. Oh, hi, you want to donate money to my campaign? What do you want me to vote on? Oh, great, I'll do that. Ring, 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 ring. Oh, you want me to vote on this? That even though I voted on the opposite ideological point of this like a week ago? Great. Can you add extra 0 to that? Oh, excellent. Right, that's her job. That's her ideology. She answers the phone. Whoever's gonna fucking give her money to whore herself out, that's what she does. That's her whole political purview. That's not independent thought. That's not having an independent streak. That's just being a fucking corporate whore, okay? And that's it, okay? Jesus fucking Christ. But again, CNN with the creative writing here. Cinema's decision to become a political independent makes official what's long been an independent streak for the Arizona senator who began a political career as a member of the Green Party before being elected as a Democrat to the U.S. House in 2012. Like, again, this is not an independent streak, right? She is a fucking whore, and her particular brand of whoriness is whoever will pay her the most money for her to say, or, in front of the fucking voter rolls. Or the guy who, whatever, in the Senate. You know, when she does right? This isn't like, she's not like this fucking, like, again, we need to really, like, the word independent, man. Like, people, for whatever reason, they think that the word independent carries some, like, fucking logical, like, I'm above the fray bullshit. It doesn't. It fucking doesn't. These are valueless, rich, trust fund baby, loser, fucking cocksuckers. They're not independent thinkers. Right? They're not, oh, I'm going my own way. No, they're losers. Okay? I need you to understand that. So whenever you hear, there's going to be a lot of bullshit you're going to have to wade through, right? Independent. Oh, you ever meet someone who's like, oh, what, you know, who do you vote for? I'm an independent. Well, first of all, that didn't answer the question, but thank you for telling me that. How do you know someone's an independent? They're going to fucking tell you. Why? Because these motherfuckers think being an independent makes them the smartest motherfucker in the world. Like, you ever meet independents, right? They're like Andrew Yang, kind of like Joe Rogan motherfuckers. Like, these are not smart individuals, right? The average now, I would say I consider myself an independent. I'm a registered Democrat only to vote in primaries because states that I've lived in before had closed primaries. Could I change my voter registration? Probably. Do I care? No. Why? Because my voter registration is irrelevant to me. I don't fucking give a fuck about my voter registration. Anyone that cares about what voter registration party affiliation that they're at, like, Jesus fucking Christ. These motherfuckers are not even trapped in the Matrix, but they're trapped within the Matrix, within the Matrix, within the Matrix. Oh yes, my party affiliation is independent, good sir. I have really figured out the problems with America. Right, anybody that gives a fuck about their party registration, I'm sorry, but again, I need you to get the fuck out of my face. And I got one thing to say to you. Well, I don't have one thing to say to you, but I know someone who does.
Only the really... I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
Again, independence, man. I mean, I'm sick of this fucking shit. Cinema wrote an op-ed in the Arizona Republic released Friday explaining a decision, noting her approach in the Senate is upset partisans on both sides. When politicians are more focused on denying the opposition party a victory than they are in... Yo... I can't with this stupid fucking bitch, man. And when I say bitch, I also want to say whore, but bitch just sounds a little bit better. But she is a bitch whore. She's a whore bitch. We can create a new compound word for this fucking goddamn whore. When politicians are more focused on denying the opposition party a victory than they are on improving America's lives, the people who lose are everyday Americans. Now, again, what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? Can we convert this to English? What party has been obsessed with denying the opposition party a victory? The Republican Party. Now, again, Democrats have had a majority in Congress, but the Senate has this bullshit rule called the filibuster, right? The filibuster doesn't exist. It's not in the Constitution. Republicans just made it up. They made it up. I guess they were Democrats. The racists in Congress made it up in, 1880s, 1890s, and it just expanded. So what they do is they deny the opposition party, which is, in this instance, the majority party, a win. Now, what did they just do this? Now, again, last week, I'm old enough to remember that last week, a Senate bill for 7 days sick leave for railroad workers lost in the Senate with 52 votes. It had 52 votes, a majority. If you read the Constitution, it says majority votes in the Senate means it wins. 52 votes, it lost. How is that possible? Republicans just said, oh, filibuster. Oh, yeah, filibuster. And then they went home and jerked themselves off, right? So, now, I'm old enough to remember this. This is a week ago, right? This is a fucking week ago. Who? Like, the idea, I'm going to be honest. I don't know how Cinema voted on that shit. I'm going to be honest. Someone look that up for me. I would like that information. I'm not going to look it up. I don't care. It doesn't affect my argument. But can someone tell me, right, in what universe is this applicable, this concept, right, this one here? In what universe is this applicable to both parties? Tell me. Tell me what universe this is applicable to both parties. Now, again, I think both parties have a lot of problems. Republicans are factually, right? This is not an opinion. This is not up for debate. This is provable. Look at their voting records, okay? Factually speaking, I know this might trigger some people. Facts are a really hard thing for people to understand. Factually, Republicans vote in favor of corporations at the injury of workers, right? They vote in favor of bosses and management and corporations at the expense of workers' rights. And again, 7-day paid sick leave fails with a 52 vote. That's another example. Democrats, now again, also pretty fucking garbage, right? Democrats, for the most part, look at Kyrsten Sinema. She was a Democrat. Garbage ass party. But if you compare them to the Republicans, right, they are slightly better on workers' rights. Slightly better. Slightly. And again, I'm talking about like as thin as a sheet of paper, but it is relevant. It is relevant. When you vote, you want to vote for who's going to get the best outcome, right? So it is relevant that they're slightly better. But the idea that this stupid fucking corporate whore is going to say this as if it applies to both parties, I need you to understand, okay? This is fucking nonsense. This is nonsense. But again, we don't live, now I say this all the time, we don't live in a world where there is such a thing as language. Language as a concept, I'm going to be honest with you, it's not going so well. It's a failed experiment. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look at the United States of America. Right. In the United States of America, the primary language that people speak here is English. Now, a lot of people here speak Spanish. A lot of people here speak other kinds of languages, right? But the primary language and how we communicate in this society in the United States of America is English. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of words. Freedom. What does that mean? You don't know what it means. No one knows what it means. You ask 100 people what freedom means, you're going to get 100 different answers. How is that possible? Freedom has a definition. It has a definition. It's real. It's a real word that exists, that is defined. You ask 100 people what that means, it means that I'm telling you, I would come up with a different answer than the person next to me. They would come up with a different, 100 people, you ask what freedom means, they will give you a different answer. How is that possible? There is no such thing as language. The concept of language is a failure. It doesn't exist, right? And that is very staunchly visible in this fucking situation. When you look at this fucking line, when politicians are more focused on denying the opposition party a victory than they are on improving Americans' lives, the people who lose are everyday Americans. That doesn't mean anything. They're words. These words have definitions, but when grouped up in this fashion, it means nothing. Right? Because it's not factually coinciding with the world that I see. Like when someone says the sky is made of, W's and dog turds, right? those words have definitions, right? But then I look up at the sky and I don't see any of those things, right? So those defined words do not correlate with the world as we see it. And so as a result, if someone is able to say that and they really mean it, whatever we think about really mean. I mean, it's possible Cinema is lying the whole way and she knows that she's full of shit, but who knows, right? We can't really tell. But how is that possible that someone can say something like that? How is it possible that someone can say, I am in favor of freedom, and yet I want to restrict people's access to going to a doctor if they're an adult? How is that possible? How can, again, these words don't have meaning. They are not defined in any way that makes sense. Now, I treat the English language, right, in a very strict way. I look at the definition of a word, and I use that word in accordance with its definition. That is a rare thing in the United States of America. I need you to understand, if you are someone like me, you read the dictionary definition of a word, and then you use that word in a context that makes sense with that definition. That is rare. You are an extreme minority if you're someone like me, because most Americans, they don't know what these fucking words mean. Most Americans read and write at a 4th grade fucking level, right? They're just fucking stupid, right? And so that's what allows this fertile ground for this fucking garbage. Again, politicians act like this because they know that you are a fucking moron and that you can't see through them. Now, when I say you, I'm talking about the average American. Why and how can politicians say this stupid fucking garbage? Because they know that only a small fraction, like we're talking a percent of the population, are going to even see what they're saying. And then an even, infinitesimally small fraction of that are going to know what this person is saying is bullshit. And so they just say it anyway. They don't care. They get away with it. And then guess what? Kirsten Sinema, you know what she's doing right now? After this op-ed got out? You know what she's doing right now? Oh, how may I help you, sir? Oh, you want to give me money so that I can vote in a random... Oh, can you, 200, 300? Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Oh, would you like me to vote? Oh, yes, I will vote that way. No worry. $500,000? Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you're going to offer me a job when my term is over? Oh, that's great. I will... Yes, absolutely. That's what she's doing right now. I'm telling you, as you're watching this video... If you're watching the live stream, maybe if you're watching this video 7 years from now, I can't tell. But if you're watching this video anytime in the remote vicinity... right, of this news story happening, that's what she's doing right now. Right now. I guarantee you, at this very moment, she is on the phone with donors right now, trying to craft what her next independent streak is going to be. So again, I don't want to read the rest of this. I don't fucking care. But again, this is an example. How did we get here? Right? Now again, I'm going to take a note out of George Carlin's, playbook here. Garbage in, garbage out, right? Americans are fucking stupid. And I'm talking about as a whole, right? As the net, result of Americans. Again, there's some really smart Americans, right? Really smart Americans, but there's also a lot more really fucking dumb Americans, okay? So when you have a population that is, as a whole, a majority motherfucking morons, this is how you get politicians like Kirsten Sinema. This is a representation of our country. Our country is a bunch of apathetic, loser, low IQ, poorly educated. They don't even care about educating themselves. They don't care about bettering themselves. All they care about is when can I afford my next Wendy's meal. Americans are fucking disgusting, evil, moronic, selfish cocksuckers, and that is how we got this Congress. Now, you can talk about big money. Big money is a problem. But would big money be a problem if America's population knew about big money and knew how bad it was and actually voted in a way that was against big money? If you had 100% of the population was like, big money's bad, you know what they would do? They would vote against it and it wouldn't be an issue. But why is big money such a problem in politics? Why is dark money such a problem in politics? Why? Because corporations know that if they craft a television ad, right, in certain districts, and it has a certain musical track or a certain sort of talking point, they know that the zombies are going to see that and go, well, shucks, maybe I'll swing my vote in the other direction. right? That's why you see these purple districts, so-called, these tight races, so-called. You see them flooded with ads. And usually, whoever had the most ad money to spend is the winner. Why? Because Americans are fucking sheep. They're zombies. They don't think for themselves. They don't have any sort of internal thoughts. They don't have any sort of identity that isn't wrapped around what they heard on the news or what they heard from their uncle one day at a fucking barbecue, right? They don't fucking think. Americans are fucking stupid. Americans are fucking stupid. That's how we got here, right? So again, you want to, how do we get out of here? I don't fucking know. But I can tell you how we got here. And it's because you, maybe if you're watching this, are not one of the people I'm talking about. But again, you, as in the Americans watching this, as America as a whole, and I should say we, but you know what? At this point, I'm backing off, okay? I'm out of this. But anyway, you, not me, not we, because I consider myself above it all, right? You, America, fucking dumb. We got dumbass motherfuckers running all over the place. And that's how we got here. That's why we have to deal with Kirsten Sinema in the news. Why? Because Americans are fucking dumb. That's it. They're fucking dumb, okay? Dumb motherfuckers. So, congrats, America. You got another leader of an independent... She's going through an independent streak. Whoa! Wow, what does that mean, an independent streak? Don't ask too many questions. What does that mean, that her streak is independent? Whoa, buddy. Whoa, don't ask those kinds of questions. We don't like questions around here. Anyway, there you go. I did a longer segment on Kirsten Sinema than COVID. What a world. Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. Jay Willikers. Mila Resson says, fact. When I watch commentary like this, I simply do not understand why Andrea does not have an audience of millions. Well, as I said, Americans are fucking stupid. It is impossible for me to get an audience of millions because Americans are too dumb. Like, if I'm being as optimistic as possible, I would say my particular message would appeal to, at most, 1 to 2% of America would be interested in what I have to say. Right? 98% of America would hear my show and get triggered and whine and cry like little babies. Right? So, yeah, that's the maximum. And then, of course, that's never going to happen. I'm never going to actually get into the ear of 1 to 2. But I'm just saying 1 to 2% of America might have similar... They might enjoy my show if they had the opportunity to see it, but that would never happen because Americans are fucking stupid, so I would never get to that point. Speaking of Noam Chomsky, that's the manufacturing consent theory. Trying to catch up on the chat here. Americans supposedly support progressive policies, yet don't support progressive politicians. I'm done. A lot of people, like, you might see this on other left-wing shows. I'm done. I'm sorry, but I'm done with this whole America's really progressive bullshit. That's a cope that I've ever seen. It's a silent majority meme that the right does, but lefties do it all the time. Oh, Americans overwhelmingly support gay marriage or overwhelmingly support marijuana, but do they vote that way? No. Americans overwhelmingly support gun control. Do they vote that way? No. So it doesn't matter. Actions speak louder than words. And someone says, I support universal health care, and they propagandize against a free, safe, and effective vaccine against a deadly pandemic that's already killed millions of people, guess what? They don't actually care about those things. So I'm done with pretending that Americans at large, or writ large, whatever fucking proper grammatical term is, right? I'm done pretending that they actually give a fuck about anything that I care about. I'm done. They don't. Americans are too fucking stupid. Americans want to have their shiny little toys and their gizmos and gadgets, and they want to ignore everyone else. So I'm done with the cope. Fuck that cope, right? I'm past that shit. So whenever you hear someone say, like, America rejects this, and no, they don't. No, they don't. They don't. Because if they did, they would learn about the Supreme Court. If America really rejected the authoritarian moves of the Supreme Court, you know what they would do? They would learn about the Supreme Court. They would learn how it functions. They would learn how we got here, and they would do mass protests and demonstrations against them. We saw when Roe v. Wade was overturned and Casey v. Planned Parenthood was overturned, right? We had a lot of protests. Did they do anything? No, because Americans don't actually care. And protesting in this country has been co-opted and it's meaningless. I'm going to be honest. Now, I think protesting, the net positive of protesting is not to affect change in government. That is not. That is, if you ask me why I would go to a protest, it is not because I actually think this protest is going to have any sort of effective change in government. That will never happen, right? The only point of going to a protest, networking, and getting yourself into the news so that you can spread your message and propagandize a positive vision of the country. Those are the values of protesting. If anyone thinks protesting is going to change how politicians vote, you're a dumbass motherfucker. You're a dumbass motherfucker. Have you paid attention at all through the last 2-3 years? Have you seen any of these protests over the last 2-3 years? Right, 2020, we had mass demonstrations against police brutality, right? Defund the police gained extremely large traction. Then what happened? Politicians spent a lot of money demonizing black people and defund the police activists, and then gave cops a lot more money, and now police brutality has increased. So now again, the protest was great. It got our message out, got positive propaganda. It awakened more people in a way that put them on a better path. People gained networks, people gained friendships, people, met each other and are now forming organizations. That is the only value, right? The idea that we can protest to actually affect change, that's a waste of time. Look at Iraq war protests. Waste of time. It's a waste of fucking time. So again, that's why when I say it's a waste of time to protest to affect change, I'm not saying don't go protest. I'm saying go protest. But your goal at the protest should not be to affect change, because that's not going to happen. You got to manage your expectations. When you go to a protest, what you should be doing, trying to meet people, make friends, try to get in front of those cameras, try to do something that's going to get cameras and attention, media attention. That's the point of a protest. The point of a protest is not to bully your government into listening to you, because that will never fucking happen. It will never fucking happen. Why? Because the only way you can bully politicians is by voting them out. And Americans are too dumb to do that, and so therefore the protest is ineffective on that front, right? So now I say this as someone who's done a lot of protests. I've been to a lot of protests. I've been to violent protests. I've been to extremely violent protests. I've been to protests where people have gotten the shit kicked out of them. I've been to protests where there's been blood everywhere. I've been to protests where people have been violently arrested, right? And I can say every protest I've ever been to, as far as if the goal is to affect change politically, big failure. If the goal is to network, incredible success. If the goal is to get in front of the media and get cameras, incredible success. But again, protests will not affect change. And more people need to know that. When you go to a protest, you need to understand what you're doing will not affect change at all. It will not happen. The only way you can affect change is by waking up the voting population of this country. That's the only way you could do it. Again, you gotta go woke. That's it. That's the only option. So anyway, that's my extended ranting and raving sesh. Oh. So, I mean, this all ties into the Kirsten Sinema bullshit. It all ties into the Kirsten Sinema bullshit, because she is the exemplar of how we got here. How is she in the media? How are people listening to her? It's because Americans are fucking dumb, and that's it. Yes, exactly. Protests, right? Again, networking and media attention. That's it. Right? Like the idea that you're going to protest a politician and then they're going to actually vote the right way, that's made up. Like, and again, who made that up? Think about it from this perspective. Who made that up? Who made up the idea that you can protest to affect change? The U.S. government. The U.S. government made that up. The CIA made that up. Oh, whoa, 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 I'm sounding like I'm crazy. Let's get the tinfoil hat on. They made it up. They make it seem like in movies, right, in culture, in the history books, right? And, people that often make movies don't really, read anything other than, now I'm not trying to shit on every, I love movies, right? But I mean, I'm talking about like mainstream interpretations of history is that like, protests have like they usually point to the 1960s when protests helped our country, like whatever. But again, that like they didn't really get anything again, I'm saying the 1960s, a lot of stuff happened that was really great. But like, let's look at Vietnam War protests. Didn't go so well, right? Let's look at what happened to Martin Luther King Jr. when he kept trying to protest for effective change after the Civil Rights Act and Voting Rights Act. Didn't go so well, right? So again, they created a mythology, they being, again, the US government, CIA, has created a mythology that protests can work as long as they're contained, as long as we let them have something every once in a while so that they think the protests work. But in reality, it doesn't. It's a mythology. It was created for the sake of, diversion. If all the people in America who would go to a protest actually knew what I'm going to tell you and have been telling you, right, protests would be a lot more effective, right? But they don't. A lot of people go to protest, they got their sign, and they scream, and then they go home without really talking to anybody else. That is doing nothing. That is doing nothing. But they think they're doing something. That is the danger. That is the dangerous trap, is when you make that sign, you go out there, you stand on the sidewalk, or you're walking through the streets and you're saying no justice, no peace, and you're not talking to anybody, you're not getting any media attention, you're not making any friends, you are the useful fucking idiot that the CIA has designed you to be. So again, I don't want to sound like I'm too much of a conspiracy theorist, but I really want you to know that the idea that protest, a good argument is going to affect the politician, made the fuck up. Purely fictitious. They made it up. So I didn't mean for that to be so long, but I just, keep going sometimes. Oh. So, anyway, let's do one more news segment here. I mean, this isn't news. This is just the let's make fun of stupid motherfuckers portion of the show. So, we've got a really sad individual here. You may have seen this clip circulate. I saw this yesterday. A really sad member of Congress. And when I say sad, I mean it in a literal sense. I mean it, this person is so sad, she's going to fall apart and cry live on stream. What is that stream? That stream is C-SPAN. This is a member of Congress, Representative Vicky Hartzler, is crying. She is in tears. Why? Because she thinks gay people are allowed to be married now. Because of the Respect for Marriage Act. More gay people might get married. Brought her to tears. Let's watch.
Mr. Speaker.
I gotta raise the fucking volume here because this clip is so fucking goddamn.
I'll tell you my priority. Protect religious liberty. Protect people of faith.
Now again, on the subject of there is no such thing as an English language. On that subject, protect religious liberty. The Respect for Marriage Act literally says if you are a religious institution, you don't have to marry people. It does exactly what she's whining about. And she's whining anyway because it's not about protecting religious liberty. It's about hating gay people. That is her motivation. But she can't say, I hate gay people. She's not allowed to say that because, then the cat's out of the bag. She's going to say this made up bullshit. Religious liberty needs to be protected? Really? Have you been around at all in the United States? Like, there are churches on almost every fucking street corner, and we need to protect religious liberty. Churches are tax-exempt fucking businesses. There are businesses that don't have to pay taxes. If I ran a business and didn't pay taxes, that would be tax fraud. I would go to jail. The IRS would take me to jail, right? But the church does it, and they're fine. The Respect for Marriage Act bended over backwards to allow religious liberty protections to the point where the bill just kind of fucking sucks. and this bitch is going to cry about it anyway. So again, I just want to restart it here. But on the subject of there is no such thing as an English language, check this shit out.
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you my priority. Protect religious liberty, protect people of faith, and protect Americans who believe in the true meaning of marriage. I hope...
So again, protect people of faith? Really? People of faith are the ones under attack?
Hope and pray that my colleagues will find the courage to join me in opposing this misguided and this dangerous bill. And I yield back.
Gentlewoman's time is expired.
I mean, again, do I need to debunk this? Do I need to do the logic puzzle for this? No, I don't. This bitch hates gay people so much that giving gay people like 1% virtue signaling makes her cry? The true meaning of marriage? What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck is this world that this stupid fucking whore lives in where there's the true... She's gonna cry, right, about protecting people of faith, but also she's gonna talk about the true meaning of marriage? This bitch doesn't know what protect means. What about the true meaning of protect? What about the true meaning of liberty? What about the true meaning of religious liberty? What if my religion is a religion that says everyone should be gay and everyone should marry people of the same gender? What if that's my religion? Do I not have that religion? So again, she's going to crawl the marriage. We need to really clearly define marriage. All these other words, they could be vague. Why? How did we get to this point? Once again, Americans voted for this stupid fucking bitch. Why? Because Americans are fucking morons. How did this bitch become a representative? Because she is stupid. America is stupid. Her district is fucking filled with fucking crazy, hateful, bigoted morons. And that's why they sent her to Congress. So, wow. She's crying because gay people got a bill that virtue signals on their behalf and doesn't really do much to expand protections in this country. Again, the Respect for Marriage Act is a bipartisan, watered-down piece of fucking garbage bill. Is it better than nothing? In the literal sense, like, is one little small corn kernel better than starving? Maybe. But in the long run, it's not really going to do anything, right? So, but again, just virtue signaling on behalf of gay rights, and also not just gay rights, but interracial marriage rights, right? That makes her, it brings her to fucking tears. The thought that a black person can marry a white person, or God forbid, a black man could marry a white man. Oh, that brings her to tears. Jesus fucking Christ, Jesus fucking goddamn Christ, like holy motherfuck, right? So anyway, I really wanted to make sure I talked about that one, but fuck, Jesus, fuck. Kathy Bates and Misery vibes. Yep. I agree. All right, y'all. Questions, comments, or concerns? I'm going to jump into at least one movie review. At least one movie review. In fact, I'm just going to say I'll do one movie review. And I'll do like 2 or 3 tomorrow, maybe. One of these days, I'm going to do like Oops All Movies, you know? Like, just do like a whole 2 hours worth. But that's not now. Anyway, questions, comments, or concerns? Feel free to lay them at me. 1000% correct. The fiction of the politically relevant protest goes hand in glove with the story of the responsive, just, civil, and nonviolent political system, all tools of social control. Yeah, the whole idea of peaceful protest... Anybody who believes in the concept of peaceful protest will get us what we want, total fucking moron. Delusional. Dumb as a fucking sack of bricks. There is no such thing as a peaceful protest. If it's a peaceful, non-disruptive protest, guess what you're doing? Not protesting. It's called a parade. It's a parade, motherfucker. Now again, I'm in favor of parades as opposed to nothing. I'd rather have parades of people saying good things than no parade at all. But it's not a protest. right? That's not a thing. For sure. I saw a comment comparing her tears to Kyle Rittenhouse. Very similar. Very similar. I watched a video this week of a wedding and the priest went crazy on the photographer for interfering with the sacred holiness of the sanctity of marriage. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, priests. I mean, any religious leader at all. Jesus fucking Christ. What is your opinion on Mastodon and Fediverse? And the Fediverse. I don't know what the Fediverse means. Do you mean just the federated timeline on Mastodon? I tried getting into Mastodon like 5 years ago. My opinion is Mastodon is fine for social networking, as in keeping or maintaining a social network. But Mastodon, as far as meeting new people or reaching a wide audience, is not going to happen. Like, the idea that people are going to leave en masse from Twitter and go to Mastodon, and then Mastodon's going to be like something that journalists reference or something that people are going to meet, like normies, that's not happening. Like, people going to Mastodon to maintain a social network away from a, big tech giant, that's great. I agree with that. Take your little group chat over to Mastodon, take it over somewhere else that's not controlled. I agree with that. But the idea that Mastodon is filling the same role as Twitter is nonsensical. And I'm not saying that that's what you're saying, Delirium, but that's my opinion on that as a subject. So anyway, I'm going to be jumping into a movie review, a filmographic review of a film that I watched. It's called John Q. Now, I've never seen this movie before, but if you have seen this movie before and you know who I am, you're going to know that I'm going to like this movie. Why? Because, well, I mean, it's a good movie, but also this is like one of the most political propagandistic films I've ever seen, on its nose. Like, this movie does not fuck around when it comes to promoting a political agenda, and that's my shit right there. That's my shit. So anyway, John Q, this is a great movie, okay? Check it out if you haven't seen it. So, a father of a child, their child has like some rare disease, a heart condition, and they're too poor to afford life-saving medical treatment, and they can't afford it, and so they're basically told, you don't have enough money, your kid's gonna die, oh well. And so that's the point of the movie, is that it puts them into like a breaking point where, okay, so we're poor, our kid's gonna die, what do we do? Well, John Q's decision is to basically hold up the hospital at gunpoint and force them to do a procedure on their child. And then essentially what happens is he holds everyone in the hospital hostage, and then everyone in the hospital, like, they're afraid of him, but then he makes friends with all of them, and they're all friends at the end, essentially. And then, like, everyone in the outside, like, it gets on the media, and everyone's like, oh, this guy's a hero. My favorite part of this movie is when one of the doctors, like, it's kind of in the middle of the movie, one of the doctors, like, just does, like, a fucking 10-minute rant about how, like, the medical insurance system basically just, like, pays doctors to kill people. And it's just really good. I mean, as far as positive propaganda for a nationalized healthcare system, John Q, I mean, show this to someone. If you don't cry watching this movie, you are not human. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I was crying on this movie. When John Q tried to kill himself so that he could save his kid with a heart transplant, I was crying, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie. I knew what was going to happen. I knew I was watching a movie. I knew they made it up. I already know the kind of, the gist here. And I cried anyway. Why? Because it's a good-ass movie. So anyway, like, he takes hold of the hospital and, he slowly gets everyone on his side, because, again, his story is that he's just trying to save his kid, right? And then the cops are also just, like, the cops are just really bad. Like, they just suck. They try to, like, snipe them but fail. And, like, it's just, it's a good movie. I really don't know how to do a long review of this movie. I mean, it's just a movie that you just kind of have to watch. Again, my favorite scene is the propaganda scene where, like, again, and I say this in a positive sense. Propaganda is a neutral term, and propaganda for saving people's lives is a good thing. And so my opinion, my favorite scene is when the doctor, but not like the senior doctor, but like the new, like the kid doctor, like the assistant doctor, whatever it is. He just like goes in and explains the entire insurance industry scam. And it's just like, it's blatant propaganda, and it's great, and it works, and it's awesome. And so the cops are the bad guys in this movie, right? Everyone loves the fact that this guy did what he did by holding up a hospital and forcing them to operate on his kid. And again, he saves his kid, and also a jury votes, in favor of him. So he goes to jail for only 2 years, even though he should be going to jail for a long time. But in the universe of this movie, people were moved by his story so much that they only give him like a 2-year jail sentence. But anyway, obviously that would never happen. If someone did this in real life, America would not look at them as a hero. America would think this guy is crazy, because America doesn't actually care about life-saving medication, right? But again, this isn't like a fantasy verse where, like, what if America actually cared about their fellow American, right? And again, this movie, if you show this movie to someone who is against socialized medicine and they don't become in favor of socialized medicine, you're showing this movie to a psychopath. I don't know what to tell you. If you're showing this movie to someone and they're not crying, they're a psychopath. Plain and simple. John Q. I mean, again, the most notable scene in this film probably as well is when John Q is doing a rant in front of the goddamn media. Like, he goes outside to do a hostage trade or whatever for the cops just so he doesn't get sniped. And he's crying about how his kid is sick and how people should just help. And he's like, sick people should just get help. And then he's like, sick, help, sick, help. And it's great. It's very, and it's a duh. It's a duh. And now, again, I don't need to sit here up on my soapbox and tell you that every socialized medicine system in every other country has better health outcomes than the United States. You already know that. And if you don't know that, then me doing this movie review is not going to convince you of that because you're just too dumb. But again, I love this movie. I thought it was great. I thought just the way it kind of escalated, the way that they showed the insurance people at the hospital, and it showed like the senior doctors that are just like corporate sellouts, and like just the way that it's great. But obviously, again, the ending of this guy like winning essentially and his kid is that is purely fictitious. The idea that Americans would be like, oh, I support this, purely fictitious. Why? Because Americans don't care about each other, right? But I wish that they did. I wish, right? And if you want to live in that world where Americans did care about each other, watch John Q. So I don't know. I don't have too much to say about it other than just watch the movie if you haven't seen it. But I enjoyed it. It was a good movie. Delirium says, what you're saying is you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, lol, federated timeline, LMAO. I'm just assuming you're a 4chaner at this point. Federated timeline is what Mastodon's combination. Mastodon is like a Discord kind of thing, where I guess you don't know what Mastodon is, or Mastodon has changed significantly. Either way, I'm banning you from my channel because I don't care about 4chaners. But Mastodon it's like a Discord server, except there's a federated timeline where everything you post goes to your like server, but that also goes to a federated timeline. And a federated timeline is a combination of all the servers. Now, again, unless Mastodon has changed recently, I've used Mastodon several times over the course of 5 or 6 years. I know what Mastodon is. If you're going to say I don't know what I'm talking about, then I don't know what to tell you. I've been using the website for a long time. I don't use it consistently, but either way, I just don't think it's an effective vehicle here. I just don't. So the idea that you're going to say shit like that leads me to believe that you're just a 4chaner. And if you're just a 4chaner trying to dig for gold here, I'm not interested in what you have to say. So get the fuck out of here. And again, also, if you don't like my answer, which is fine, you cannot like my answer. That's fine. A proper response would be explaining how I'm wrong, not just saying, lol, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. LMAO, LMAO, lol, lol, lol. And again, if you're putting federated timeline in quotes, when that's literally what the website refers to it as. That's what it refers. Now, again, they might have changed the name in the last couple of months. I'm not sure. I haven't logged on in a while. But the federated timeline is literally the fucking name of the website's primary feature. So if you're going to put that in quotes and then say, LMAO, it doesn't exist, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. And again, I don't care about the 4chan meme garbage. Get the fuck out. And also, what is this like thing where like people who don't watch my show, this is the first time they've ever popped in, they ask a very specific leading question and then they just go into full 4chan mode when I answer. What is this like meme here? I'm assuming it's possibly just like one person and a bunch of different alt accounts, but Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, like, if you want to say something like, what the fuck are you talking, you don't know what you're talking about, LMAO, lol, you're fucking stupid. If you're like fucking Realon or something, or someone who's in my chat every day, or, you know, then I'd be more likely to, I mean, people in my chat like that are here routinely can make fun of me and that's fine. But if you're just a random person, I've never seen you before, then I'm sorry, I'm not going to take your 4chan garbage seriously. So I've been using the website since 2018, 2017, I think actually. But 2018 was when I used it the most. In 2019, and then I stopped using it. I don't really like social networks as a whole anyway. But I've popped in. I have several different instance accounts. I have an account on like 5 or 6 different instances. I don't really like how it works in that fashion. And so that's why I don't like it. So you asked me what my thoughts are. I gave you my thoughts, and you just rejected my thoughts. I mean, you asked that's like saying, oh, what's your opinion on Le Croix Limoncello? And I say, I love Le Croix Limoncello. And then you're like, LMAO, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Lol, limoncello, in quotes, LMAO. Like again, that's not how human beings behave. I'm sorry. So, there you go. But feel free to make another account and try your little 4chan act again if you want. I mean, make another account, try it, this is a constructive criticism. Try a different method, right? Don't do the quote, LMAO, lol, lol. Don't do that stupid shit because it doesn't work, right? Learn from your mistake. Try again later. That's my recommendation. Yeah, Tyler's the one who walked flew as close to the sun as anyone else with that weird fucking... Hey, don't think I'm forgetting that shit. I can forgive, but I will not forget. That's what, just saying, Tyler, I would say watch yourself. I think you've shot your load already on that one. So, but, and that, that's not a euphemism I particularly thought about too much before using it, but, yeah. Anyway, that's my show for today. That's it. Q-cock if you want anything else. Hi, Max. I'm petting Max the dog right now. Trying to think of what else I should say. Subscribe to my other YouTube channel if you'd like. I haven't uploaded anything in a little bit, but I'm working on a special project, so there you go. Did I watch any of the other Cabinet of Curiosities yet? No, to be honest with you, I'm not terribly interested in them. Maybe I'll save it for next Halloween or something. Like, the only reason I watched the one that I watched is because it's Panos. That, that's it. I don't know the directors of the other ones. I haven't looked at them, to be honest. I know that one, the viewing, is Panos, and that's what made me watch it. Like, if it was a standalone film, I would have watched it. The idea that it was part of an anthology is just, whatever. DD, CHF, congestive heart failure, 10. Oof, 10 of them. That's bad. John Q for president. Great show, Andrea. Thank you. Thank you. But, yeah, that's all I got. That's it. That's it. I mean, get the hell out of here. I don't know what. It's over. It's over. It's gone. It's over.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
know who created Pokemon Go. But I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
It's not a fetish. It's not a fetish. That's a term like, I just love information.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq, anyway.
Dub is a shit fuck, cringe tour, etc., etc.
Oh, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce.
I eat extra sharp. That's what I eat.